What's up, guys? It's homie Bigg Vic. We back with another video. Today I want to talk about timing and vision. I want to talk about where you see yourself at. Where do you see yourself at right now? Wherever you're at right now. First and foremost, we have to be thankful for where we're at the present moment, right? You have to have that attitude of gratitude for where you're currently at right now. One of the hardest things for people to do is visualize themselves somewhere else other than where they're currently at right now, like at this very moment. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do, especially if you're struggling, your finances are not right, and you're just still trying to figure things out. Let's talk about vision for a second. I want to go back to talking about vision for a second. I remember one time when I had opened up my multimedia studio. I was looking for a space to open up my studio, and the landlord, he rented me the space. Of course, whatever type of business you say that you're going to open up, they don't really care, just as long as you give them the money. But the landlord was pretty much like, okay, boom, this is how much it'll be. And I'm like, I'm going to, he did ask what type of business I was opening. I was like, I'm opening up a photography, videography studio, right? This was way before they started opening up. Now people are opening up content spaces, right? Renting out spaces for people just to, for content creators to come in, film, do podcasts, things like that. Like I had a similar setup way back then, right? I looked at my space. It wasn't super huge, but it was big enough for me to be able to open up my studio and do photography, my entire setup. I opened up 2026 Multimedia Studio in that space back in Columbia, South Carolina. After I had everything set up, the landlord comes back in and he looks inside my studio space and he was like, wow. He said, I know you told me you were opening up a studio, but I had no idea that it would look like this. My point is, when your creator gives you a vision of something, that is for you. That's a vision that you have. Everybody is not going to see your vision. Everyone is not going to see your vision. You have to still continue to move on the vision that you have. Meaning, if you share that vision with somebody that doesn't have the same vision that you have, you shouldn't let that discourage you from moving forward in whatever endeavor you decide to do, right? You shouldn't let someone else determine if you're going to get started in whatever business opportunity you may be looking at. That's something that I've always done, even if people weren't on board with what I was talking about. Back then, I opened up a recording studio. I started a record label. I started a management company, right? All of these things I started without caring if anybody was on board with me or not. I did it anyway. And shout out to Jermaine Dupree. He's one of the executive producers of the new Hulu Freaknik, the new Freaknik documentary. It's so wild because I was actually down there at Freaknik back then. My story's a little different. I remember, I'm going somewhere with this, so hang in there with me for a second. So I remember back then, I can't remember exactly which year I went to Freaknik, but it was probably, I can't remember which year it was. It was definitely in the 90s. I went one year, that one was cool. That was fantastic. I was like, yo, next year when Freaknik comes back around, I'm going out there. I was rapping at the time. I was a rapper at the time. Bigg Vic, the representative. You guys probably, I don't know, some of y'all might have that. You can stream it. It's out there. You can find it. Just look up Bigg Vic, the representative. Anyway, Fortune and Fame was that album. I remember getting my income tax money. And I told my wife back then, I'm like, when I get my income tax money, I'm going to press up this album. I'm going out to Freaknik. I'm going to press up 500 tapes. I think it was either 500 or 1,000 tapes that I had my album on. I was going down there to sell them. I had an MPV van. I brought a couple of the homies down there with me. I had got some posters done with my album on them. And I put posters all around my vehicle, all around the MPV. And I was down there promoting my album, right? This, like I said, I've been hungry a long time. I'm trying to show y'all how long I've been out here doing what I've been doing, right? I've always been in the mix, always been working towards achieving something, right, in my life, right? But I went out there with the album and I just started meeting different people, right? Every time I looked at the back of a vehicle, instead of me chasing girls out there, and it was plenty of them out there, but instead of me chasing women, I was chasing my dreams, right? I went out there to chase my dreams, and I had my cassette tape and I just started handing it out to people from different states. Believe it or not, after that Freaknik weekend was over, I probably had at least 150, maybe 200 cars, if that many, that I had sent my album was in these different states. on my way back from Freaknik, back then we had the message writers. Shout out to the old school heads that's watching me right now. But I had the message writer. I was always on this tech stuff, yo. I'm a tech head and a gadget guy. It was a pager, but it was a message writer. I was real fancy back then. I met a guy down there. He ended up calling me up because I had my information on the back of the cassette tape. And he was like, yo, he said, I know this label that'll probably rock with you. Like, yo, this album is hot. I know a label that'll probably be interested in, working with you. As I'm on my way back from Atlanta for the weekend, for my hip hop heads who know who KRS-One is, the record label that had him signed with his Criminal Minded album, they reached out to me. So all of this was because I made a decision. Listen to me, y'all. I was able to make a decision. That's the thing that holds a lot of people back. Some people just can't make decisions. Life is about decisions. Every choice that we make is about a decision, right? So back then I decided I was going to make a decision. I just decided that I just wanted more. I wanted more for my family, right? In spite of where I came from, Bridgeport, Connecticut, by way of, after I left Connecticut, I moved to Darlington, South Carolina, then moved to Florence, South Carolina, then after being there for a while, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina. I just decided, you guys, that I just wanted more for myself and for my family. I come from a family of, entrepreneurs. I also come from a family of heavy drinkers, drugs, that type of stuff. Like I come from that. That's where I come from. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that, because you guys hearing me say that, that's gonna resonate with somebody that's watching me right now that's thinking like, man, I come from this. I can't achieve that. No, but I'm here to tell you that you can. You can do, you can achieve, you can have, you can be, you can do, and you can have whatever it is that you want to have. Like that's what I want you guys to, to understand that. Like I come from the hardest part. I come from the hood. I come from the hood in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Like I come from an area where it was shootouts all the time. I'm from that. That's where I'm from. The people here in Connecticut, they don't associate Connecticut with like crime and the hood, and they think it's like suburban. Nah. I'm from the East End. I'm from the East End of Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I promise you, it's one of the roughest cities. That city has made the major news several times. If you're looking at like this trucking space, you're getting interested in this opportunity right here, I just want you to know that there's so many opportunities out there, right? There's thousands of opportunities out here, thousands of ways to make money out here these days. YouTube has literally, for me, you guys, YouTube has literally changed my life, changed the way that I'm able to communicate, changed the way that I'm able to articulate my story to a plethora of people out there, right? And I've been on YouTube for years. Go look at the date on my YouTube channel. Go look at that date. I've been on here a long time. And sometimes things just don't take off when you first get started. It takes a while for you to get that momentum. And it's about being consistent in whatever you do. A lot of you guys don't know this that watch me. A lot of y'all don't know this, but it took me 16 years to get a real situation in the music industry. 16 years. Jermaine Dupri was looking for a couple of producers to produce for one of his new artists. He had just signed a deal with Tag Records. They made him the vice president, VP or something like that of Tag Records. And he was looking for a music producer. Looking for music producers to help him produce that particular artist. And when he put that video out, you guys, I just always tried to do something different than what everybody else was doing, right? So back then, if you don't know this is so wild right here. Back then, when I got on YouTube, if somebody put a video up, you were allowed to leave a video response in the comments. Like your comment could actually be a video instead of you actually typing the comment. So when Jermaine Dupri said, I'm putting out, here's the email, you guys can send your beats to this email. You know what I did? I said, I'm gonna one up everybody. I'm gonna go on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna make a beat from scratch, and I'm gonna send that as a video response. And I forgot all about it. I did that and forgot all about it. My subscribers reached out to me and said, Bigg Vic, congrats, congrats, congrats. And I'm like, yo, what are they talking about? Congrats on what? I uploaded that video response to his video looking for producers and never thought twice about it. You guys, I was one of the winners myself, and shout out to Bus, the producer from New York. Bus and myself were two of the producers that he selected to get a publishing deal and a production deal with So So Def Recordings and his publishing company. So I had a publishing deal and production deal with So So Def, and I was over there for 4 years as a staff music producer. Prior to that, well, when I was in a group, I went down to Atlanta, I performed, seen Jermaine Dupri walk in the club, and I was like, yo, that's Jermaine Dupri. We got real cool with Lil Jon. He was an A&R with So So Def at the time. We got real cool with Lil Jon, so I used to go to the office on Peachtree and just kick it with Lil Jon. He would come out, talk to us. He'd tell me about some records he just produced. You know, we were just kicking it. And I went down to Rowdy Records. I used to hang out outside of the studio, just trying to get a situation, just putting myself in places that I could actually meet people and get some type of situation going. It wasn't until 16 years later, y'all, that something actually happened for me in the music business, and I hadn't quit. I took a break, but I never did quit. Like, I shut down my studio, but I didn't give up. I didn't give up on that. And that came to fruition for me. But when I think back to all the way back then, Freaknik, me grinding, putting posters on my van, going out there, putting myself out there in places where the people were at, I said, man, you've been going at this a long time. A long time. So if you're just seeing me, you're just starting to watch my channel, just know that I've been putting in work for a long time. Like, at some point, the amount of work that I put in, that momentum, at some point it has to kick in. When you don't quit, at some point, that has to manifest for you in some form, shape, or another. The universe, it's the law of attraction, you guys. It has to kick in for you. It has to. It may start off small. Were there times I wanted to quit? Absolutely. 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 I remember it's times where one of my aunts, she's passed now, but I remember riding with her up in Connecticut, and I was up there. I had just put my tape out, you know, with the family at the cookout, and I went over with my aunt to her house, and I'm sitting in the back of her van or whatever she was driving, SUV, and she just looked back at me and she was like, when are you gonna get a real job? Have y'all heard that before? Well, auntie, your nephew made it happen. If she's looking down on me right now, your nephew finally made it happen. Hopefully y'all can still see me. One of my cameras just overheated. It went dead on me, so I'm gonna talk in this camera. But I finally built up some momentum. Things are shifting, you know, things are growing, I'm building, but I've been building a long time. I don't want y'all to think that just out of nowhere, things just started happening for me, because believe you me, it's been a minute. I've been grinding a long time, y'all. So I know there's a lot of you guys that are watching the channel now, a lot of new people that are watching a ton of my videos, but here's something that I want to do for you, because I just feel like there's somebody out there right now that's watching me, and you probably want to get tapped into the course. Not sure if you're looking at my mentorship, but what I want to do for the next 7 days, this is something that I want to do for you guys. For the next 7 days, and you're gonna have to send me an email if you want to take me up on this offer. That way, you get an opportunity to come inside, tap in with me, on a more personable level, learning what I've learned over the past 3 years in this business. It's all gonna be handed to you basically on a silver platter. You don't have to go watch 1,000 videos on YouTube. You don't have to binge watch all of my content, trying to figure out the little intricate details of this business, right? So you'll be able to come on in, join the family, get in the Box Truck Freedom Academy while I'm running this 7-day sale. But remember, if you go to the link right now, it's $9.97. You have to email me. Send me an email and say, shoot me that link, right? So I'm gonna create a separate link so that you can get access to my Box Truck Freedom Academy over the next 7 days for $5.97. And I rarely run sales on my stuff at all. But I feel like there's somebody that wants to tap in that was saying, man, I'm a little nervous. I want to get it. You on the fence. You playing double dutch right now. So I want to go ahead and get you off of the fence. Let's get you off of the fence. Get you in the program over the next 7. You got 7 days to make a decision. Remember when I first started this video, I said it's about making decisions. You have to know how to make a decision, you know. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes you gotta take grown folks' hands and push them to success. Sometimes you gotta push them to success, right? Sometimes you have to do that. It's nothing. Only thing that's stopping you right now. The only thing between where you're at right now and where you're trying to go is one decision. One decision. Every last one of you guys are one decision away from your life changing forever. One. And I could stop right there. If this video resonated with you, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. You don't have to work hard. You just gotta be able to work smart. You gotta be able to work smart. Right now you have an opportunity to shave 3 years off of trying to learn this business. You get to shave off some time. That's what it's always been for me. And be honest with you, that's what it's always been for me. Buying courses, buying books. That stuff is to cut my learning curve. That's to help me cut my learning curve to where I don't have to be trying to figure things out, watching a whole bunch of videos on YouTube. I just need the information laid out for me, very, very simple, that I can understand it in a very simple way, and that I can execute after that. Information is one thing, but once you get the information, it's about what you do after getting the information. You gotta know how to act. You have to know how to make a decision. Listen, life is all about decisions. It's the homie Bigg Vic TV. Let's go, let's get it, let's eat, baby.